Hello everyone, Randy here, and no, this is not an RTX 2080 Ti install. This is a GTX 1080 Ti install. Got another EVGA GTX 1080 Ti. This is their Superclock 2 Hydrocopper edition. So everyone, just a real quick backstory here as to what's up with this card. And you're probably thinking, hey, if you didn't see any recent videos here, why am I putting this in my computer since I already have one in here? Well, I had to send the one I had in here out for warranty work, and I believe they've replaced it. I'm pretty sure this is a new one. I don't think they actually did anything with mine. They just gave me another one. So the card I had in there was, I think, less than a year old. Somewhere around this time of year, I put the GTX 1080 Ti in there. Basically here, several months ago, I started having issues with my computer just suddenly shutting off. After about 30 minutes of being on, it would completely hard lock, and I mean you could do absolutely nothing. No Control Alt Delete, nothing. Power it down. You had to reset. So typically within 30 minutes, give or take a couple minutes. I mean you could almost set a watch by, not quite, but within 30 minutes at first turning the computer on, it would always do that. Didn't matter what you're doing. You could just be sitting there looking at it and it would lock up. You could be playing a game. Didn't matter at all. And once you restart it, it'd be fine for the rest of the day. It would not lock up again, which I always thought was really, really weird. It's like, okay, it does it within the first 30 minutes, restart it, it'll be good for the rest of the day. Anyway, did all kinds of things trying to figure out what in the world's going on. Drivers and hardware, plugging stuff back in. Finally, after I think about a month or month and a half of that, I started having some pretty severe graphic issues as well. And it's like, well, okay, maybe something's going on with the graphics here. So yeah, it started. Basically, you know, games I can normally get 60 FPS and I was getting 10, 5, 15. It's like, whoa, something's going wrong. So I immediately began to suspect graphics issue with that. Again, could not figure out what it was before that, but once I started having issues with frame rates and stuff, like I wonder if my graphics card is causing an issue. So I happen to have a spare. I mean, just keep spares around, you know. I had a spare GTX 1080 Ti. This is a Founders Edition, I believe. I'm pretty sure it's a Founders Edition laying around. Decided to pull my Hydrocopper out, which is what's up with this mess here in the tub. In case it leaked, I didn't want water getting in my computer. So pulled that out, put the Founders Edition in. It's been fine, perfectly fine. It had no issues. The computer's not shut down once since. So pretty much it's like, okay, it has to be the graphics card at that point, because putting another graphics card in, no issues. Back to full graphics horsepower again, like it should be. So anyway, called up EVGA. Told them what was going on. They sent it in. We'll take a look at it and replacement whatever. So that's what we got here. That's what we're going to be installing this video and getting rid of this jerry rigged. Basically what I had to do, because I still have liquid cooling in here yet from the CPU. I did unfortunately have a coupler, and I wasn't about to go out and buy one just for this. I just took a couple of T's, and I got two hoses. So I got all ends of the T's there connected. So I need to get that out, get all this out, get this card in, and I'm going to try to do it without draining the loop. I was able to disconnect the old one without draining the loop, so hopefully I can put the new one in without, again, draining the loop any more than what's necessary. Okay, well, first things first, got to unbox it. I don't know what there is, but there's always something fun about unboxing, expensive hardware. In this case, I didn't have to pay for the replacement, by the way, for those who are wondering. That was considered warranty yet, as it was less than a year old. I'm not actually sure what the warranty is on these. Not entirely sure on that. So again, this is a Superclock 2 edition Hydrocopper. And a lot of people seem to be confused by the Hydrocopper. The Hydrocopper simply means it has a water block on it. So they have a regular Superclock 2 edition, and then they have a Hydrocopper Superclock 2 edition. Again, the Superclock 2 is how much they've overclocked it, basically, out of the box. And then, yeah, Hydrocopper just means it has a water block versus the regular one that has a fan. So there we go. I have to say that's kind of a, maybe not the prettiest of cards. I mean, not really a whole lot to it. EVGA GeForce GTX Hydrocopper. Again, this is a GTX 1080 Ti, which has the 11 gigabytes of RAM onboard memory on it. So let's get this hooked up here. Let's see, so it is going to go, looks like they actually have the ports already open where I need them to be. I probably should double check and make sure they have these tight. You never know coming from the manufacturer. And with water cooling, you always want to like double check everything. So we'll probably do that. I don't have the tools here to do that, but I'll have to go grab some Allen keys. Okay, let's put my water fittings in. Like I said, it's going to go in like so, so that's the top. Actually, I have to double check. I don't remember now if I had this on both on top. Yeah, I think they were both on top. Because that's got one connection up here, and the other connection's on the other side. So yeah, one there, one here. And we'll just make sure these are somewhat snug and tight. Don't want to like over tighten them, but there we go. That should be good. And now we'll remove this entire stack of books here, which is propping up the dishpan, which is keeping any leaks off the computer, hopefully. Okay, well, we'll start by disconnecting the hoses here. And I've just got some of these small regular hose clamps on here. They seem like they work pretty good. I've got the plastic ones as well. The only problem is when you start changing out components, the plastic ones are only good for like a time or two, and they kind of they don't work so good after that. Whereas these steel clamps, regular metal clamps, they should last quite a bit. It doesn't really matter how many times I open and close these. Well, at some point they'll probably wear out, but I'm sure long after whatever component and the hoses they're attached to will be gone as well. Okay, so again, these are full of water here. And double check, I should have... So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the card flipped up like this to put the hoses on. So, shouldn't really matter here, I don't think. Okay, that one is on. Actually, you know what? I'm going to take this one back off here just so I can get that other hose off. Okay. And I'll definitely have to put some water in the system here once I'm done, but for now, should be okay. Make sure the clamps are nice and snug. Okay, and now for the fun part, trying to remove this graphics card, which again, like I said, another 1080 Ti. Just has a fan on it. Regular Founders Edition here. So let's unplug the power. Let's see, that is, yeah, it's the same power on this one. This one has an 8 and a 6, and this one has an 8 and a 6. I already have the monitors disconnected in the back. Just kind of work that one out. So, like I said, just a regular Founders Edition there. This is a this is a Gigabyte card, so not actually from NVIDIA, but a Gigabyte GeForce GTX 1080 Ti Founders Edition from the looks of it. Okay, and then we're just going to kind of rotate this one down in place. Hopefully no water spills out of our connections here. Carefully get that one in. Oh, and just saying, just taking this off probably would help actually be able to plug it in. Just saying. Yeah, I'm thinking anyway. Okay, and I think we are in. I think. Okay, now time to get everything reconnected here, power it back up, and like I said, I'll probably definitely have to put some water in it. Okay, everyone, got the monitors reconnected in the back here. I've got 3 DisplayPort monitors plugged in, and then a DVI plugged in on the other one. That actually caused me a bit of a problem here when I went to plug this card in instead of this one here, because this one has DVI. As you notice, this one does not. So I had to connect HDMI up to my other monitor there. Not really a problem, I just had to run another cable to that. But I've gone back to the DVI for this one, so 3 DisplayPort monitors and a DVI port. Got the power plugged back in there. Looks like I'm not seeing any leaks here yet. We'll turn it on here. We'll keep a good eye on that because we don't want any leaks around here. That would definitely be bad. Seeing some water running through here. It's going to have to obviously refill up in here because all that water. I didn't lose a whole lot of water, but definitely had some water that ran out there. So it'll take a minute for all the bubbles to get back through. By the way, for everyone that keeps telling me to get a larger case here, why don't you look up a half 932 here? This is a Cooler Master half 932. I don't know why they call it half. It's half HAF, half 932, high airflow, half 932. This is no small case. This is a big case. This, I don't know if you can see, well, I guess you can't quite see the desk up there, but it's what, about 8 inches lower than the desk. Yeah, looks like most of the air bubbles have worked their way out. And I'll probably leave the front cover off here for a little bit. Keep checking this, make sure. Give it a day or so. Once a day or so, then we should be good. I don't expect to see any more leaking there, I don't think. Okay, everyone, so there we go. I think we're back in business here. Back up and running. I did have to switch the inputs on my main monitor back to a DVI. Apparently it must not auto-select that, or the auto-select is off. I'm not sure which one. I was thinking there for a minute, it's like, uh-oh, we ain't got no display. Nope. Simple as just switching back to the DVI there. Like I've said before, and I think I mentioned this, with this monitor, in order to do the high refresh rate, I believe you have to use the DVI cable. In the past, I haven't tried it with my new graphics card here, the 1080 Ti, but with previous one I had the 980 Ti, I think you can only do 90 hertz to the monitor here over HDMI. In order to do the 144, I had to have DVI, so that's why I've got DVI instead of HDMI for those of you wondering. With the DVI, again, you get 144 hertz. I haven't tried the new card, though. Maybe the 90 hertz, I'm not sure if that was a limitation on the HDMI on the old card. Maybe that takes care of that. But then again, if that was a HDMI limit on the old card, it's probably an HDMI limit on the monitor here, too. I don't know. But anyway, everyone, we're back in business here. Didn't take, what, maybe 20 minutes there to swap cards back around. Like I said, I'm going to leave the case open here for a little bit. Make sure there's no water pooling on there. That, by the way, there was no water on the old card either, so that was definitely not the issue, unless there was something wrong internally. But that would be their problem then, not my problem. So I think we're back in business here. Hopefully we don't have any computer crashing issues here with the new card. That would definitely not be cool. So yeah, anyway, you folks have any comments or questions, be sure to leave them below. And as always, thanks for watching, and until next time. Now it's time to see what we can overclock this thing to.